time to really begin the time to begin to exude the strength of mental ability to change the narrative around us has come. The time to begin to do things right has come. The time to begin to understand the fullness of what we represent has come. And the time to begin to have our minds to be flexible so that we can understand and do things right and process the right information and do things right in our lives to receive freedom and get the best out of life for ourselves and the generation to come has come. That is why we are here, and that is why we have decided to take our freedom into our hands. I want to welcome you everyone here today to this special short broadcast. It's going to be short, but it's going to be a special one because I want to treat something very, very important. Um, we as dark colored skinned people, we've been suffering and going through poverty, having so much struggle all over the nations of the world where we are found because we actually have a fundamental problem. And those problems, the problems, of course, all engrossed and called a problem. The problem factor is what has actually kept us in the situation that we have found ourselves, where we are disregarded by the world, where people like the King of England and the late Queen would just come and massacre us and go free. They don't bother to make apologies. They don't care what is happening to people. They see us as animals. They value resources, mineral resources, than valuing us as a people. And all of this is because we have this fundamental problem that we have actually shown to the world and letting them to see us in a kind of light and in a kind of way. And that is why briefly, I'm going to be making something very special today and, of course, be exposing to us. There's a particular video I want to actually use in this context and in this regard to actually get Biafrans to think and reason. And when people begin to fight themselves or fight their own freedom, then you know that something is wrong with them. When you see people who actually want to stop everything that will cause them to have a better life, then you know something is wrong with them. If you look at the picture behind me, of course, it's the burning of the market by the caliphate soldiers. Of course, the soldier of the caliphate, the soldiers of the caliphate, that is inclusive of the Nigeria army and then the Fulani caliphate foot soldiers, who are the headers and they call the headsmen, and all the terrorist organizations like ISIS, Al Qaeda, and other people, Boko Haram, who have decided to take over, the land, of other people, indigenous land of the people. I want to welcome you. Thank you. Uzumaka Nicholas, Biafra is our religion and soul. Yes, that is why we're doing what we're doing, and that is why we cannot back down, because Biafra is our soul, is embedded in our soul. We do the things that we have to do in the soul realm, where we have the intuitive ability to carry out this redemption that Chukwu has given to us to carry out. And that is why you see that taking away Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has brought about exposing them to more danger, because we have more dangerous people who have come all out this time around, because you have taken someone who is important to us and you have made the spirit angry. And the spirit has entered into so many of us now. We have decided to come all out to make sure that we actually do what we have to do to make sure that we are out and free. Welcome to this broadcast. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and please, I want you to share this video to people, and all your social media platforms, and also to like and subscribe onto this channel, Biafra Global Network, for us to actually do the things we need to do, and of course for people to see what we are doing, and at the same time for people to actually follow up in what we're doing, and also to understand and have knowledge. Now, the topic that I want to be dealing on to this evening, I was supposed to come 5 o'clock Biafra time, but this is I came about 4 minutes or 5 minutes ago, which is about 39 minutes late because of some delays. I actually returned late and had to fix some stuff quickly before coming up. And when it was time for me to come on, the network was actually not stable, so I couldn't actually do what I needed to do at that 5. So I had to wait for the network to actually. I was trying and refreshing and all of that, and now I have, at least to an extent, it's the network that's going to take us. We as Africans, or dark-colored African nations in the African continent, have been seen as poor, wretched, and underdeveloped. the people who call themselves white, of course, they're just fair colored. We are dark colored, they are fair colored, but they call themselves white because they see themselves as supreme, having supremacy over us. They see themselves as developed, and they see us as not developed. And of course, which is the fact, we are not developed. We have actually put ourselves in a situation where we are messed up. We have become a shame and disgrace to ourselves. And this has actually prompted, us to see corruption and to see killings, to see maiming, to see racism, to see so many things that have been happening to us. Now, you can link this also to why we can still have people who are going through hell and who are suffering, people who actually are poor and need help, yet they are still jostling for things that will keep them down. You present freedom to them, they say no, they don't need freedom. They want to remain poor. And that is what you see some of them chasing after politicians, those people who have kept them in poverty all these years. Now, I want to state some facts and some factors that have actually made us poor, and that has made us not to actually have good things and not to know how to utilize the things that we have, the resources that we have, all that God has given to us, the natural resources and the natural smartness and intelligence that we have, I want to actually give us some factors that has made us remain in this situation where every time we want to make decisions, we make the wrong decisions rather than making the right decisions, so that we always get the right and the wrong things happening to us at all times as Africans, especially the dark-colored Africans. West Africa especially has been very, 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 very poor. Poverty has taken over, and Biafra, as rich as we are, in the nation Biafra, we still cannot harness what is ours and harness the blessings that is ours, because we actually have not allowed ourselves to be, be free from this corruption that has held us and these factors that have held us. Thank you, Mrs. Morin Hing, for joining from your location. Good evening from here too. And I want to welcome you to this broadcast. And of course, as usual, I'll say, let Biafrans share this video and also subscribe to this channel, Biafra Global Network, where you're going to have right teachings and right submissions that will help us to go into what we're doing. Before I go into the teaching proper and to expose some stuff to us tonight or this evening, I want to remind us of the things that Mazi Simon Epa said in last night's broadcast. Remember, we have started the fighting back. That is one of the announcements he made. Biafrans has to be careful. Biafrans have to be careful wherever you are. You know that we have started fighting back, and we are fighting back, and we are dealing with them. We're no more hiding it, because this is one of the, it's our right. We have the right. They have been killing us, and now we have decided to fight back, and we're killing them too. Because they kill us, we kill them. We're not looking anymore. We're not pitying anybody. And if you are a Biafran, you are a Biafran, and you are in the Nigeria Caliphate Army, the soldiers of the part of the soldiers of the Caliphate. As I told us yesterday, the new brand name is the Soldiers of the Caliphate. That involves, or that includes, the Boko Haram, the Al Qaeda, the Al Shabaab, the ISIS, and all the Ansaru, and all their militant groups, all their terrorist organizations. And then that also includes the Nigeria Police, Army, DSS, Navy, and Air Force, and every other military arm, that is involved in this. Every of their security stuff, so-called security stuff, any of them, and also both their northern, security outfits, those ones that they call them Sharia implementers, or all of that. All these people. If you are a Biafran and you are part of any of these outfits that belong to the soldiers of the Caliphate, you just count yourself dead, because you will be killed. So we are telling you, we're not hiding it anymore. We are telling you face to face, and we're telling you what the situation is. Oh, yes. Mrs. Moran Hinks, he said people really need to hear you. Yes, that is why this thing have to be shared, so that people can access this information that we are dishing out from here. because the more the justice we can do for ourselves, or the better things we can do for ourselves, is to actually share the information that will need to change the minds of the people, or that will inform the people, so that the people can understand what they are doing and what they need to do, and so that we can begin to have a good result. It is very, very important and crucial. So please, let's share this and announce to other people, like the channel, like the video, so that people can, your friends and your people can also know what is happening, and also to come to watch what we are doing here. Also share on Twitter, share on all your social media platforms, and get the people to subscribe, so that on their own they can also receive notification whenever I come up, and they can also hear the good news. Now I was just making the announcement that Mazi Simon Ekpa made last night when he was broadcasting. He talked about we fighting back, and we have started fighting back. We are taking back our destiny. We are taking back what belonged to us. We can't just continue to allow these people, to continue to kill us and maim us. We are not cowards. We are not stupid. We are not, we are Biafrans, and Biafrans are people, the children of God. The Israelis you are talking about, the children of God, those people that God has chosen on this earth. That is why we are blessed. That is why we're intelligent. That is why we are smart. That is why we can, anything our hands touch becomes gold. That is why we can always do things and get things well. That is why we are all over the nations of the world, helping other nations to grow, to develop, and to do all of that. And they are calling us poor, but yet we're developing other countries. Why? Because we have not been able to organize our house to get every one of us together. Now you can imagine, as I told us yesterday, just imagine this scenario where we have Biafra nation, and then we have all the people, great men and women, our brothers and sisters, our children, and all of that are working abroad, doing great things abroad, in science and technology, in arts and economic approach in every sector of the economy of the nations of the world. They're all coming back to Biafra land, and we decide to build our land. Just tell me what it will look like. You can imagine what it to look like. That is why sometimes you have to imagine your freedom. Imagine yourself in the point of freedom, or at the point of freedom, or in your nation, Biafra, and imagine all the technocrats, all the professionals, and all the people that are full of aptitude, that we have all over the nations of the world, including you and I, coming together, and we're putting our strength together and composing a new nation and designing a new form of growth and doing the right things we need to do. You can imagine the results we can get. That is what we are looking for. That is why we are fighting right now. That is why we have said enough is enough. So we are fighting back, and we are fighting the zoo, the soldiers of the caliphate. They have made us to understand that their new name, or their brand name, that name that encapsulates them all, that name that they all, that covers them all, that they bear, even if they are Nigeria Army, they are ISIS, they are ISIS, they are Al Qaeda, they are whatever they are in their respective organizations. They have come together to have that singular name. That name is soldiers of the caliphate. And as I was saying, any Biafran whether you are my brother, whether you're my sister, I know of some of my relatives who are in the Navy, who are in the Nigeria Army. I'm talking to you too. If you don't come out of that place, you are going to be killed, and you'll go die for nothing. That is the truth. The spirit of Biafra will kill you. When you come into our land with them to fight us, you'll die, and you will die for nothing. That is what we're telling you. This is not the time. Jesus said something critical. He said, if you, those who do my Father's will are my brothers, my sisters, my parents, and all of that. So if you decide to stay in the Nigerian Army and you're my relative, or you stay in the Nigerian Navy, or whatever formation they have, their security outfits, and you decide to stay in them, and you are my brother or my sister or my friend or whatever, or whoever you are, I promise you that you will be killed and you will die for nothing. It is not the time to talk about brother and sister. We're talking about the kingdom of Biafra that has to do with our people, the kingdom of Biafra that has to do with our people. Jude, thank you. Thank you very much, Jude Ajiwe. Ajiwe. What language is that, please? Can you tell me, please? Jude Ajiwe. This sounds like Kogi or so. If you can tell me what language it is, more and more grace, my brother. Thank you so much. Can you tell us the meaning of Ajiwe, so that we can understand how the AD is pronounced? Ajiwe or Ajiwe. Is it Yoruba or something? I know. Please, you can tell us. So if you are a Biafran, whether my brother or sister, and you're in the army, you're in the navy, you better resign, join the Biafra force. because we are all out to take our freedom. We're fighting for freedom for you also. We're fighting for freedom for ourselves. We're fighting for freedom. We don't intend you dying. We don't want you to die. That is why we are warning you beforehand. You have to come back so that you don't get, yourself messed up and die for nothing. Second, those Biafrans who are in the north of Nigeria, whether in Sokoto or wherever you are found, if you are a Biafran anywhere in the north, we are pleading with you. We are pleading with you. I have relatives there too. I'm talking to all of you too. Leave Abuja and come back to Biafra land. Thank you so much, Chukwayim. Thank you so much, Ken Na Ok Chuku Ayem. My God, this name is a long one. Anyways, one can bear any name. Anyway, we can decide whatever we want to, our name. So I can decide to change my name to one long thing, and that's my name. Nobody can fight that with me. Thank you so much, Ndewo, to you also, and thank you for joining me. And I want to appreciate you also. And please share this video and let the people also subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. Now, Mrs. Murray Hanks, you said, Jude, you are welcome to our lecture room. Oh, okay, you're welcoming Jude to the lecture room. Jude Ajiwe, that name, that Ajiwe, we're trying to understand it. Now, if you are a Biafran living in the north, you have business, you have built houses, you have built whatever. I was just when I was listening to CNN, and I was hearing of the Florida flood and the hurricane or whatever they call it there that is happening. And people were saying that there's a particular man that made me. He said, well, he has invested here and all of that, but it is not worth staying back because his life is in danger. No matter what you have invested, if your life is in danger, you are at the verge of losing everything you have. Because when you lose your life, you have lost everything. So we're going to tell you, those of you who are, in the north, you better return because the game has changed. The game has changed. I bet you the game has changed. We are fighting back, not just fighting back, we are killing them because they have been killing us. It's a war. They've started the war, so we're not missing words. It's not those times we try to code our voices. Of course, our code is water. You know that's the code. So when you say water, they know what we mean. We are water in them. We are dealing with them, and we're fighting back, and we're dealing with them. And so, if you're in the north, you better begin to hurry back to your home, to your village, to where you belong, so that you can save your children. You can save your generation, you can save your future. That means that you have decided to lay your life as a sacrifice for whatever that is material. And anybody who is material, that is one of the factors I want to lay here. One, we are very material. We are too selfish. We are so selfish. That is one of the points I want to make in this broadcast, talking about why we are poor. I'm going to be laying all those points as time goes on, as I get to that point. But I'm trying to make the announcements according to what Mazi Samonepa laid yesterday. I'm trying to tell our people, if you are in Biafra, if you are not in Biafra land, you are elsewhere in the zoo, especially in the north, you better begin to return to your place because you are going to be, you may become a sacred cow. I'm sorry, you may become a sacrificial cow. We sacrifice you for nothing. They kill you. You saw the two guys that were killed. What's his name now? Emmanuel and Co. That were killed. By the ISIS version of the Sokoto or the South and the soldiers of the Caliphate. They killed them and nobody said anything, and they will kill more. So you better leave that place and come back. Even if you come back empty-handed, go to the farm and start farming. It is better for you. That is dignity and that is value. That means you place value in your life and in your generation. You don't kill yourself because you have house somewhere in Abuja, or you have house in Sokoto, or you have a house in Brenin Kebi, or whatever you call those places. You just kill yourself for nothing. So we advise you to come back. And of course, we know that our people, they have now gotten every aspect of Biafra land to become an eye for them. Now we hear that the banks have become an eye for the soldiers of the Caliphate to begin to kill our people. The banks in Biafra land, once a young man comes to withdraw a particular money and they view you, they feel your IPOB, they feel maybe you're withdrawing money for the men on ground to buy weapons or to buy some stuff, to buy supplies and all of that, and then they begin to give the information to, immediately they come to pick them. We have been telling our guys to be very careful. And of course, the banks have now now joined those people who, Biafrans who are working in those banks, and of course, other people who are Nigeria agents and working in those banks have decided to make themselves an agent of or informants to the soldiers of the caliphate. We are telling you now that any bank that exposes any of our person, anybody who's arrested from the bank, as soon as you come out of the bank or you're inside the bank and you are arrested and taken by the soldiers of the caliphate, we are going to come after that bank. And everybody from the manager or from the person who is the senior in that bank to the least will be dealt with. We're not hiding it, because that means you are an enemy to the struggle, you are an enemy to the people, you are an enemy to Biafra, and you are an enemy to the spirit of Biafra. You are an enemy to those who have died for and sacrificed their lives for this freedom. You are an enemy to those who are sacrificing their lives for this freedom, and you are an enemy to God. So we are going to definitely deal with you, and we're going to handle you accordingly, because you cannot be exposing our people to death and you think it's going to be game as usual. It's going to be every time you people just come, you kill us, and it is the game as usual. IPOB are people you should kill, and then they just die. It's not going to happen that way again. We are set for our freedom, and you are going to pay dearly with your life if any Biafran is killed. If you're working in the bank, a bank manager, whatever you are, if any Biafran is taken from your bank, we're going to come for you. So just get that in your heart and get that into your head. You these idiots and you these sellouts that we have everywhere, fighting yourselves, fighting the people who are fighting for your freedom. Amoka Tony, thank you for joining me. Good evening from here. All hail Biafra. I'm riding on. I will keep riding on. Thank you so much for joining me, in this broadcast. We want to talk about the situation, why we are poor. Why we are poor, why we don't have good things. Remember, I made the first point earlier. I said we are selfish, but I'm going to be expanding on that. Of course, that is part of it. But I want you to listen to this video and watch it also. It will tell you something. It will tell you something. It will tell you something. It will tell you something.
Your Excellency, let me quickly clarify this. You say that when pregnant women give birth in your facilities, they get 500 naira. Is that correct?
500 naira, yes. Yes.
Now, can you imagine this? I don't know what to call him. Look at his arrogance. The question here, this lady who has been against Biafra, this idiot called Maokwe, who is against Biafra, who has been talking against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and talking against Biafra. They are all slaves. Look at her too. She's if you look at her, she's a slave. So anyways, I just had to bring her up here because I've never wanted to have anything to do with her submission on my platforms. But we need to bring them in to show the world how stupid they are. These are the people who are keeping one Nigeria. In spite of this interview, she still believes in one Nigeria. That is how foolish they are. They go to school, they come up with stupid certificates. They begin to carry out their career in their ways, in stupid ways. I don't know why people decide to sell their conscience because they feel they want to eat. You sell your conscience for your stomach. Is it not stupidity? Because your conscience is what lives forever. Your stomach does not live forever. Your conscience lives forever. So your conscience, wherever you are, your conscience will break your spirit and keep condemning your spirit wherever you are after you leave your body. So when you feed your stomach, because of what you want to feed your stomach, you begin to fight your own freedom and fight your own conscience, just like this Malkwe does. She was doing to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and castigating him everywhere. Even Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had to mention her at a point in time. These are the fools that we have, and one of the fools of the Oduduwa nation anyway. But we know that we have agitators in Oduduwa who believe in the right thing. And maybe one of these days, she also will repent and come to, these are people who are thinking of their stomach rather than their conscience. They don't think of the value they hold on to, the perishable. They don't think of the value. The value is the life after now, the life that goes with your spirit, wherever your spirit is going. The pricking of your spirit is by your conscience, the evils that you have done. Think about that. So they hold on to perishables rather than the values or the eternal. So now she asked this man, you said, Your Excellency, I don't know, that is the title they like, they like this title, Your Excellency. These are people who prefer title to right thinking. They have lost their minds. They prefer to be called, some kind of title and all of that. And look at this man of the governor of the so-called governor of Abia State. And he was asked by Maokwe, he said, she asked him, he said, Your Excellency, your so-called Excellency, 500 naira you said you're going to be given to every pregnant woman who gives birth. And the man arrogantly said yes. Now, what gave this man this courage to say yes? and arrogantly came publicly in the media to say yes, arrogantly. I want us to think, Biafrans, because we have to know where our problems are coming from. Now, for the past years, since 1960, when the first, the first, republic, 1960, is it 61 or 62 or where, when it was the first republic? The zoo things has to go away from our minds because it is not actually is important. When the elections were held and Tafawa Balewa became the first prime minister and Nnamdi Azikiwe became a ceremonial person because he sold his conscience also, as stupid as he was then, and then since that time until now, these same people have been, displaying themselves as leaders and rulers over our people. Now, in 2022, these same politicians, these same people like this Ikpeazu, all the years that have been misleading our people to this time, these same Ikpeazu have come again, to say something very horrible here. And as a politician who is in charge of a state under the zoo called Nigeria, even if we know that territory is Biafra land, is Biafra territory. Now, she said, she was asked that question, and she said, yes, yes. Now, let me play it again so that you can get the stuff very well and you can understand. So for those who are just joining us now, so that they can hear it. Now, listen to this foolish man.
Your Excellency, let me quickly clarify this. You say that when pregnant women give birth in your facilities, they get 500 naira. Is that correct?
500 naira, yes. Yes, at the backpack.
What is the
Yes, 500 naira, yes, yes, and a backpack to make it look like, yes, it's so, oh my God, we're doing so much. Now, these same politicians have been doing the same thing from 1960 until 2022. And now in 2022, they have come to organize the same process called election that brings them in to do the same evil. And the same people who say they are smart, who say they want change, who say they want good lives, the same people are still going around and jostling to become part of the election, to still bring in the same process that have put them in penury, in abject poverty, in suffering, in death, in disaster, and every evil that you can think of on this planet. These same people still want to endorse this criminality. You know why? One of the biggest things that have been affecting us as Black people or dark colored people, especially in West Africa and all over Africa, anyways. One of the reasons why we are known all over the world as non-entities, idiots, and personal non gratas, and all of that is because, one, we lack the ability to make right choices from the options before us. Take it, number 1 point, why we are poor. We lack the ability, if you can write it down, we lack the ability to make right choices from the options before us. We lack the ability. And I'll tell you the reasons why we lack the ability. The Europeans and the Americans and all of those people and all of that, they have come to discover all of these when they came into the African continent. They were able to deceive some few people, to sell their brothers, to sell their sisters, to sell their own people as slaves. Now, that also passed a message to them to make them understand that, did you hear that Fulani sold any of themselves to slaves? Did you hear of that? Do you know why they gave Fulani authority over you? Fulani is corrupt, so they know that they can use the corruption of Fulani because Fulani will not sell out, but they would want to get returns from their corruption. And because they too are corrupt, they use the Fulanis. Our people find it hard to make right choices in the midst of the options they have. This is obvious in their businesses. That is why we do businesses, yet we are not the richest in the world. We make so much, yet we are not the richest in the world. You know why? When we make money, when we work and make money, the first thing we think about is how to spend, not how to invest. Now, this is a two-way teaching. One, to teach us privately on how to run our investments and our lives. Two, to make us understand the mistakes we are making, why politicians are manipulating us. And three, to make us, of course, there are two, the two are the same, you know, how politicians are manipulating us, and at the same time, how the world have come to see us and why the world is taking us the way they are taking us. Now, in our businesses, observe an average black color and dark colored person. When you make money, the first thing you want to do is to spend. You are thinking of spending. I was observing, I saw where close to where I'm living, I discovered that there are few people who are working there. I discovered, you know, all these laborers doing some work and all of that. And one thing I discovered is this. I noticed something. They will work so hard. I pity these guys, you know, anytime I'm around, I see them working. I say, wow, they will work so hard and so hard. And when I'm returning, maybe I'm returning towards the evening, I see them. That is when they're about to round off their work. And as they are rounding off their work, they already, some of them is calling one particular girl somewhere, or a girl is waiting for him out there or something, or somehow. And then that money they worked for that day is gone. That is how we reason. We make wrong choices. And these things are based on the factors of lack of basic opportunities from knowledge. Let me explain that to you. The politicians, the British and the politicians that have ruled the Nigeria contraption from 1945, from 1914, from 18 something, when they came into the system, into Africa, to start destroying Africa and all of that. From that time they came, they have made us not to see the qualities in us. So our people, even the education that you are receiving from the schools, from wherever you are receiving them, the education is actually porous. What you learn there is what you have to do to become a slave after you're out of school. So our people go through schools, and what they're expecting to do is what they're going to do, to work for one place or one company or something, or to do some stuff and to start something stuff small and all that. They teach you the character of a spender or someone who relies. So our people have this attitude and this character that have become part of them. They cannot make right decisions. That is why you see that when the option of referendum and the option of election is presented before our people, some of our people are chasing after election. Now, why our people cannot make right choices in the midst of the options is this: they lack the basic mental capacity to reason along the line of issues and things that are presented before them, or the options before them. They don't reason categorically and specifically on facts around those options. So what you now see is that as the options come, the people feel, based on the fact that there have been this slave mentality, as I told you, the mentality of slavery, where you don't want trouble, you always want to do something that gives you convenience. You want to do something that you want to do things because you are convenient with them. Not, you don't want things that are inconvenient. That is why they were fighting Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, because they felt he was doing something that's making them very inconvenient and uneasy. The Nigeria government is attacking, and so it is, we shouldn't do it that way, or else we'll be having them come to attack us or kill us. This norm, this attitude of trying to make sure that what we do does not give us a discomfort. That mindset makes us, because we rely on emotion. Africans have become too emotional based on the slavery mentality. So because of the slavery mentality, we decide to settle for the less. We settle for what is convenient for us. So based on the factor of the convenience, the people see that to get referendum will cost us so many stress, cost us lives, cost us fighting, cost us so many things, because we know that these people will fight us. So they prefer to choose election, an easy way out. That is why you see people like Tony Nadia and Co. All they are going around taking fires everywhere. They keep taking fires everywhere. They've been taking fires everywhere since 1999, where democracy, the so-called democracy came about. People have been carrying fires to seek for referendum, to seek for restructuring, to seek for a new Nigeria and all of that. They have been carrying the fires for 22 years plus. Nothing is working. because they want it conveniently. This is one of the factors and the reasons why most of us are poor. We always want things convenient, the convenient things. And convenient things give you common results. When you seek for things that are just convenient, things that are not stressful, you are going to have ordinary results. So the only way we're going to enjoy a better nation, which we are fighting to break the jinx of that mantra or that stigma that is on us, that the globe is looking at us as the underdeveloped and as people who are poor, is for us to now decide to do something extra, something that will take us away from the norm, something that will take us away from the usual, something that will take us away from doing the normal things to expect a supernatural result or extraordinary result. No, it's not possible. So that is why you see that what we are doing now under the auspices of the autopilot mode is that we are taking actions that would break our convenience and push us by force to get our freedom. The reason is we lack the capacity to make right choices. Now, why would you think? Let me ask you this question. Think critically. Why would people who say they are technocrats or intelligent, and spread all over the zoo called Nigeria, and you see them all everywhere, and why would you think that they would decide to go for election when they know the implication of election? Why is why are some of our people, in spite of the suffering of the last 8 years, when they actually thought that all hope was going to come to light when this man, so-called man, come in power, because they felt Jonathan was a trouble to them? Why is it that after these 8 years, they still want to maintain that convenience of election rather than going the hard way to get a change? This is how our people reason. Our people lack the capacity. And what makes people lack the capacity is because they have been battered emotionally. When people have been battered emotionally, now let me explain that to you. When the British and all of that came to colonize us, they threatened us, they put fear in us, they intimidated and everything before they made it to the point where we became subjugated because they had the guns and bullets. Our people became intimidated by these things, and emotionally they were broken. Emotionally, they were devastated. And anytime your actions become based on emotions, you would always have the wrong result. If you want to have the right, result in your life or take the right decisions in anything you're doing in life, you must allow your emotion align with your reasoning. That means your senses must guard your emotional expectation or disposition. That is the problem we had when we became slaves of the British. They battered us emotionally. They made us feel inferior. When you take the green passport anywhere, they condemn you. They make you look low. They make you look like an animal. They are psychologically dealing with you so that you will keep yourself low and under them. There was a particular picture that has been circulating. In fact, when we were little, we saw those pictures, when this voice of the cross people were singing, and of course, doing all they are doing. They use that picture as a means, this voice, Emmanuel and Lazarus or whoever, their names, Emmanuel and Lazarus, that sang the song, I have a joy, the joy of salvation. Those songs, those are old. There used to be those days, those are record plates, that record plate, those days it was this table turner. It's not these days you just slot in, just press a chip and something and music starts playing. You just carry that large thing. You have many in the house. In fact, it fills the house. Just carry that large thing and put on the table turner, and it's called a record. We call it record or the plate. And you put it in on there, and then you click something. The table turner has one pin, one stuff that has a pin. It goes up like this, and it moves and then rests on the plate. And then we're going to hear some kind of biting sound, and then the music starts and it plays, and you can even use a hand to pull it back when you want to play back some stuff. It was a funny one, but it's one of those technological advancing period, and to the point where we have better things right now. Now those guys, one of their album that where they sing, come and see the light of God. I have seen the light, oh hallelujah, amen, that stuff. And one of the song, I will praise him, I will praise him, I will praise him forevermore. That album that has those songs. In front of the album, you'll see a picture. They draw most of you see those pictures. Some of they even have them on almanacs, everywhere. You see a white person looking like an angel, having wings, holding a sword, and stepping his legs, putting his leg on somebody who is dark colored on the ground, on his head, and putting the sword as if he wants to pierce him. And they tell you that it is the angel of God wanting to kill to kill Satan. Now, some of us don't understand the original implication of that picture. And I tried to explain to them. I told them, I said, that picture represents the fair colored people, the British, the Americans, and all of that. They are telling you that we are lower. So they used a black colored man or a dark colored man, down there, and they use that one wearing the wings and all of that. That's why they call themselves white. They call us blacks. That's why you saw he has wings. That means showing that he is pure, he is righteous. And then the man down is dark. He's unrighteous and he's evil. That is the mentality they put in us to make ourselves lower than them. That's why when you see some children, the mentality have gone so low that when you see some children, when they see a fair colored person passing, all these Europeans and all these people who are fair colored passing, they begin to look at the person. They begin to look as if they have seen something very lovely, something unique, and then they see themselves as inferior to those people. That is why you are brought also when you are passing as a dark colored person and this white see you, they can mock you, they can even hit you, they can even do anything to you because they believe you are nothing. That is the mentality. They did all that to batter our emotions. So every decision now we take, we reason more with our emotion rather than with our senses. That is why you see some people who decide to choose election rather than choose referendum. If you place referendum and election and you think about it with your common sense, you'll discover that referendum will give you a better result than election. So now ask yourself the question, why do they now decide to choose election over referendum that gives them the better result? The same way they do in their businesses. They invest, they make money, they take the money, they spend it. They don't think about investments. They spend it. They build houses. All they do is build houses, build hotels, build that is the kind of investment, the least they can do, and all of that. That's the most they can do, not the least, the most they can do. The highest they can do is build houses and then maybe set a shop somewhere and be selling, and then maybe start lavishing the money. That is why we make so much, yet we are not among the best, the first 10 richest in the world. But we are among the first 10 most intelligent. Now you see the problem. We have what it takes, but we have been emotionally reduced because of colonial tendencies, colonial, effects. They have affected us so much that we are so down and out that anytime it has to do with reasoning constructively to take a vital decision, a decision as election and referendum, somebody is choosing election. Now, that tells you why we are poor. That tells you why we are poor. Because our people make their decisions based on emotion. If you look at most of these people who are against the sit at home, the force that we're coming in with this autopilot strategy now, if you see most of their reasons, they'll tell you that if you remember that the first time the sit at home was called, Kanu Takanu was saying that our people are going to have their exams, so we have to allow them. So we are going to call off the sit at home because of exams. Can you imagine? You are seeking for freedom, so you can have better schools. And it's telling you that you have to endorse the schools, the normal thing. Let them keep on with the norm. Let's keep something away that will make us get a better school. Let's keep it away and just continue with the norm. Emotion. They have been emotionally battered that they make wrong decisions because they reason with their emotion rather than with their senses. Efra Emmanuel, thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much. Work hasn't been allowed for your broadcast of late, but I watch after. Oh, good. Thank you so much for always watching. And I know that we're busy. Of course, most people are busy, and along the line they don't watch at that time, so they watch later. So whenever you have the time, we talk and you interact, and then you send your messages. We also interact. So whenever the time is not there, you watch later, and then you make your comments too. I welcome you. I appreciate you for being part of this. Thank you so much for being part of this. Now, the reason why we are not succeeding, that has exposed the reason why we're not succeeding, because we have been battered emotionally. So now, when it comes to taking critical decisions like something like a referendum, you will see people who you think should know better. You will see people who you think reason well. You see people like, maybe Wale Soyinka and co. You think that they have something upstairs. They begin to talk about election. I don't know whether Wale Soyinka is talking about election now anyways, but I think they are all in support of election. Some of them are sitting on the fence. They'll tell you, yes, it's good to agitate. Let our people seek for freedom. At the same time, we also endorse this candidate, blah, blah, blah. Emotion. They want the norm. They don't want anything that will inconvenience them. They don't want to be called by the DSS or the Nigerian government or arrested or to be called up to Abuja to be questioned. They want to get a different result by doing the normal thing. The same thing they have been doing since 1999 when this new dispensation began, this new dispensation of error. So that is one of the factors. Now you see that this affects us privately also in our businesses. Our people do businesses, they waste the money. They don't think of investment. They don't even think of developing themselves. They don't even think of how to, to be, they don't think of turnover. They just get the profits, let the money be there, let it be. But whatever is going to be turnover is added to their waste. They are spenders. They spend. They want to show off. They want to go to parties. They want to spray. They want to do everything. But the richest people in the world don't do that. And they are these people who colonized us. That is what makes them. That is what they found in us. They saw that weakness and they pumped and fed our weakness, fed us to the point where we now became so battered that we keep making wrong decisions. That is why you see that our people can decide to choose election. Some people, not majority of the people have decided for a referendum because we have been teaching this thing. Of course, people have come to understand all of these factors, but they have chosen election. You know why? They are slaves. That is why we keep doing this teaching, so that when they hear these teachings, they begin to understand that they are making themselves, they are doing the evils to themselves. They're doing the evils to themselves. So the reason why this has been the problem is because we were colonized, and by colonial powers and structure, they have put it in a way, both through their command and control system mechanism, which they call divide and rule. That is their own strategy of command and control. Through divide and rule, demoralizing the people, reducing them, making them feel that, reducing in their mind, they are making them feel smaller. When they begin to create different states, dividing states, they are dividing them and calling some few tyrants to rule them. And then they keep making the states tinier, smaller. So as you see yourself smaller and smaller, you begin to see yourself less impacting and less effective. That is when you see that our people now cannot rise up to fight because they don't know who is against them. Because they have reduced you to the point where you are now so small, you now think of yourself small, you now think of yourself less than what you are. Emotional disposition has been battered. So we are reduced in our mind, and that is what has affected us. Even in business, it is obvious when we're doing business, we are not investors, we are spenders, we waste things, and we are reduced in the mind, and it has affected everything we do. Why would somebody come before election and referendum and decide to go for election? That is where the fundamental problem is. I may not be able to tell all of what I need to tell right now based on this because of time. I'm looking at the time. It's 48 minutes. I thought I was going to just end in 30 minutes because I want to have a short one where people can watch and all of that. Now, but we have gotten a long one. Now the people are defeated by their mindset. When people live most part of their lives in slavery and they are being offered freedom, they feel like where they are is the best place to be. This is mentality of the average Biafran. Yes, they feel it is the best place based on the fact that it is convenient for them to be in that place, because leaving that place will look like going into their fears. They don't want to go into their fears. They are scared of going into their fears. You got it right, my brother. You got it just right, because they feel it is the best place. Now that this place that I see now that is convenient for me, this chair I'm sitting on now is good. Why would I stand up from this chair and go and look for the other chair that I don't even know what is wrong with that chair? That's the way they think, because they are convenient with it. Please, just leave me here. Let me be here, please. I don't know what is over there, so let me remain here. That is the mentality, and that is what slavery did to us. That is why our people will choose election than referendum. I begin to imagine what is on the minds of all these people who are going after politicians. All these rallies they have been doing, they call obedience rally. I begin to imagine what is on the minds of all these people, because I see, I feel pain. I look at them, I feel pain. I say, is it that these people don't reason? But because they want convenience, slavery has made them to accept the convenient. Because you have to just accept it that way. God knows why. Even if we are going to get our freedom, God it is God's time. God's time is the best. That is the lies. God's time is the best. Now listen to this man telling us that 500 naira is okay for the poor, that they are poor people. Do you know what 500 naira can do for 500 naira that cannot buy a loaf of bread to feed a family? Somebody who calls himself a governor. That is why our people are shameless. You vote, you want to go for election again to elect this kind of human beings? Oh my God, listen to it again. Listen to it.
500 naira for, sir.
They give you 500 naira to. It could be for anything. You asking a poor woman what she do with 500 naira.
Did you hear what this arrogant man said? Are you asking a poor woman what she would do with 500 naira? Can you listen? Can you listen to what this man is saying? These are the things that anger us. And he's saying it arrogantly. So this man is telling us that 500 naira is very, very okay for somebody who just gave birth. That even a baby food, a can of baby food cannot be bought with 500 naira. This is what the politicians represent. This is what the politicians represent. And these are the reasons why we remain in poverty, because we keep choosing them in a deformed structure. We have a deformed structure, yet we keep going to the polls to vote these idiots in because they are selected and chosen by the caliphate. So you must vote them. Caliphate presents 3 or 4 of them, and you must choose one. Anyone you choose works for the caliphate. But the one the caliphate blesses or ordains works better for them. How can a man with conscience tell you that in this age where 500 naira cannot even pay for drugs, even a good malaria tablet or worm expeller, you can't buy for 500 naira, and you have 4 children, for instance, and he's telling us in a place where, in a world where in some countries some women who are pregnant receive up to $4,000 in a year or more. Somebody's telling you that 500 naira, $4,000 is over 2 million naira. And somebody's telling you that 500 naira, he's saying it so arrogantly. I'm going to play this again, for God's sake. This pains me. Listen.
Some people don't have it.
Some people don't have it. Look at the lady, the one Nigerian lady. See the way she's looking at him. See the way she's looking
Your
at him.
Excellency, let me quickly clarify this. You say that when pregnant women give birth in your facilities, they get 500 naira. Is that correct?
500 naira, yes. Yes, at the backpack.
What is the 500 naira for, sir?
Free delivery, they give you 500 naira to. It could be for anything. You asking a poor woman what she do with 500 naira.
This is the reason why every reasonable person will stand strong at this time around for us to get our freedom. Are you telling the poor? So they are comfortable making the people poor. You know why? When the people are poor, the people look for opportunities like this, like election, to make some money. When the people are poor, the ladies become vulnerable, so they can begin to carry people's children. They go to universities, go to secondary school, carry all those girls and use, and promise them heaven and earth, and they have the opportunity to mess our ladies up. That is why they want the people poor. Now he's saying, are you telling? These are people who build houses for girlfriends. These are people who buy hundreds of millions naira cars for girls. Go to Abuja, see what they are doing. Go to Abias, the government house and everywhere. Go to all those places, Imo State and all those places. Go to all the governors' places and their lounge in Abuja, where they have their lounge and all of that. Go to the places where they have their properties. They have girls scattered everywhere. They even have some lodge in Sheraton Hotel and other places. They are not there. The girls are just staying there. They pay for those places. Sometimes they are not even there. They have paid for those places. They pay hundreds of thousands every day to secure that room as their own permanently. This is what these politicians are doing, because you are coming all out to make a choice based on your emotion. You are making a choice that evades your senses and based on your emotion, and that choice gives you wrong results, gives you wrong responses, gives you wrong things every time. The choices become wrong. Efine, I hope I pronounced the name well. Efine, my brother, that is exactly their arrogant and nonchalant attitude. They will hold the money meant for the poor masses and live comfortably and neglect the poor. This is why they prefer election. Yes, that is why they prefer election. Because when the election is coming up, of course, the boys are looking for opportunity to make some money. People like Aisha, Yusuf, and Co will tell you to bring 100, that the common people should contribute 100 billion so that they can vote Peter Obi in. Imagine, Peter Obi will tell you, I can't give shishi because he knows he's not, he doesn't need to use his money. They are all thieves. And then they begin to task the poor people. And then the poor people, the girls who begin to run around them, to make money, sleeping with them. That is what they want. So that they can drive to the universities. That's what they do. They go there, they pick any girl. They have people there. Some of the boys who run the errands, they're around there. The girls there, they take them to Abuja. They take them. Some of them, they use them for rituals and to keep their pass on. And some of them, they give them cars and all of that, give them whatever they want. That is what they do. So look at what this man is saying. Emmanuel Ifre says, in the zoo, the political class make the people for poor so that they can kill themselves to grab every junk thrown at them. That is it. They deliberately make the people poor so that they can't think straight. They know the consequences. They know the situation that have affected the people based on slavery. And they know that the British and the caliphate has actually used that same method of poverty to affect the mindset of the people so that they will keep making wrong choices in the midst of the options. If not, no reasonable person will see referendum and go after election, in spite of the number of years since you were born till now. If you are 20 years old, if you are 30 years old, you have been suffering, no matter how you look at it. Whether your parents are rich, whether your parents are poor, you have been suffering. You travel abroad, you suffer, because there they tell you that you are not a citizen. There they mess you up, they deal with you, they treat you as trash. No matter your degree, whatever you have, they still treat you as trash. You have been suffering, and yet life and death is presented to you. You choose death. Life and death. Referendum is life. Election is death. You choose death, because election validates Fulani conquest. Election validates the cutting of your necks by the Fulani militias. Election validates the poverty. Election validates what this stupid man is talking about, 500 naira. Election validates your poverty. Election makes you also, looking up to the junks they're going to drop and you're going to grab. Election makes you poor so that they will come to your schools and pick you for homosexual businesses or for rituals. Election keeps you in the position where they can get you cheaply. That is what they want. But yet, somebody goes and picks or chooses election because they have been mentally battered. They don't reason anymore. They reason with their emotion, because they feel that election will make them not to fight. Election will make them still remain, calm and peaceful in quotes. Election will not make them exercise some kind of, strength that would put them in trouble, or make them do something that will make them be arrested, or like what we are doing right now, showing our face and talking about what we're talking about. Election is a means of subjugation. So they want to stay in that state of subjugation, which is convenient, rather than going for something that is different. That is why because of this kind of mentality, we are not able to build our economy. In our private businesses, we don't do well. We are not one of the richest in the world. We are still poor and backwards. That is why Africa has been poor, because of this mindset. Now you can see it obviously by the decision we are making now. We are choosing, some of us are choosing election. That is the mentality. We have been battered. We have been hit. We have been suppressed. But today, that chain is broken. In all those churches where they tell you that they have broken the chains of darkness, blah, 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 blah. There's no chain that's broken there. Because if chain is broken, they themselves will see the light and they will tell the people the right thing. But this is where the chains are broken. This, when Mazenam Bekan was preaching, the chains were breaking from us, from most of us. You know why? Because that was the true teaching from God. Not this religious teaching where they manipulate you to give offering and tithe. I'm not saying giving offering and tithe is not good, but 99% of them, 95% of them use them for wrong things. So you don't pay tithe and offering to places where you know that things are not done well. Some of them will build schools. Can you take your children to those schools? Your tithe and offering were there. Some of them will build schools and big schools. My tithe offering, I gave offering too, because I went to some of their programs. I gave offering that was used to do some of those stuff. But if I want to send somebody to that school now, I know how much I'm going to pay. How many of you can pay 1 million for a semester? But some of those schools built by these churches are, let's not go there. So many things are going wrong. Listen to this man say that thrash from his mouth. I'll play it again from top.
Some people don't have it.
Your Excellency, let me quickly clarify this. You say that when pregnant women give birth in your facilities, they get 500 naira. Is that correct?
Yes, at the backpack.
What is the 500 naira for, sir?
Okay, answer. What's the 500 for?
Delivery, they give you 500 naira to. It could be for anything. You ask the poor woman what she should with 500 naira.
Did you hear that? It could be for anything. Are you asking a poor woman? So they know the people are poor, and they know that it was their decisions that caused the people to be poor. So they want the people to remain in that situation. That is why you see the fire behind me, the killings. This is the devastation election does. This is what election gives you. Death. People don't even know that election is worse than referendum, because the after effect of election is worse than the after effect of referendum. The problem you think that you are trying to avoid in referendum is what meets you after election. So when you choose election, you have chosen to prolong your death, your killing, your suffering. But when you choose referendum, you have decided to take the action now to secure the future. And in the future, you are safe. These are the reasons why we are poor. There's so many other factors, but the major thing is the emotional retardation that we are suffering. That is why we make wrong choices, wrong decisions. Rather than choosing an election and a referendum, the people are choosing an election. It has affected their business mindset. They make wrong choices. They prefer to spend their monies on liabilities than to spend their monies in investments and all of that. They make wrong decisions in their families. Some of them will sell their children into prostitution because of what emotion has done, because they are devastated. Some of them will sell their children to ritualists. Some of them will take wrong decisions and all of that. These are the effects of wrong decision. That is why Africa is poor. That is why they are stealing our resources, because we don't want to stand for ourselves. The same way we don't want to stand to get our referendum. But we have decided, if you stand our way this time around, we're going to crush you. I've told you, if you think that you want to romance your slavery mentality and use it to come against what we're doing, well, we tell you that you have to, the end of that chapter has come. We are now set, as Mazi Simon Eber said, we are now fighting back. They kill us, we kill them. We have taken it strongly now. We are entering our freedom very, very soon, and we're determined. And you can't stop us. So change from that mindset and come into this so that we can build our nation, build our people, build ourselves, and get a better life. That is the message. If there need be, I would speak more on this particular stuff, because what I've done is actually introductory. I want to speak more on it if need be when I have the opportunity again to either I do it tomorrow or I come up with another topic tomorrow that is very important based on the situation. I think there's a particular important topic that I need to treat, but I'll deal with that tomorrow. So some other time when I have time, I'll come up with this again and I'll talk more on it, because we need to get our people to begin to think. We need to correct the mentality. We need to correct the mentality of our people. Thank you so much for joining me in this broadcast. I appreciate you so much, Emmanuel, and other people that joined me, and Nicholas, and those people who made comments, Miss Moran Hangs, and other people. Thank you for joining me. Please share this broadcast and please subscribe to this channel, Biafra Global Network. Let's change the narrative. Let's begin to get our people educated. Let our people begin to understand some basic factors so that they won't begin to make decisions that will affect them. Like somebody like this man now who calls himself the governor of Abia State. Such kind of disaster that we have brought upon ourselves because of election. We are going to stop that now, and we're getting our referendum, and we're taking our freedom in our hands, and that's our decision. Thank you so much. Let the people know this, and let the gospel go far and wide. God bless you. Remain blessed. Please stay safe. Be careful. Don't sell your neighbor. Be careful and watch your back, and make sure you don't get caught up in the in the things that are going on, because we are also taking them on. And water is the code, as we've said, and we keep doing it until Mazinam Dekanu, we release him, and then also we get our freedom. Thank you so much for joining in. Join tomorrow again at the same time, 5 p.m. Biafra time, or 1 p.m. tomorrow. If not 1 p.m., it's going to be 5 p.m. Biafra time. Thank you so much for joining. Is it what's the name? Thank you. You said thank you so much. Thank you to my brother Efine. Please, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know whether it's Igbo or it's Efine or Fine, or is it is this supposed to be just Finn? It's now say Efin or something, Josephine or something. You now made it Efin. Well, thank you anyways. I know that you know the meaning, so I shouldn't bother about that. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for being part of this broadcast. It's getting dark here, so I have to stop this, and you can see the screen is getting dark, man. Thank you too much to my brother, Emmanuel. Thank you all for joining. I see you tomorrow, either 1 p.m. Biafra time or 5 p.m. Biafra time. Thank you, and share this video to all your social media platforms, and also get people to subscribe to this channel. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. Thank you.